Hello guys, we are back with another Diablo 4 video. This one is going to be a bit shorter. So we are still in the early access third day, Sunday, and there were different reports about RAM leakage, performance issues, even people that reported their GPU being burnt by the game. Most notably, those were the NVIDIA GeForce 3080 and 3080 Ti's, and even more specifically Gigabyte models. But I guess it may not have been the game that was the culprit of it, as I should assume some had maybe clogged cooling solutions or other issues, PSU and other, and the game only exacerbated the issue. The GPU would burn out. But let's get back to what we can take a look, and that is the overall performance of the game, and most notably the memory usage. Because of my work, I did upgrade my PC with 32 and then even more recently with 64 gigabytes of RAM. My job, what I do, it requires a lot of RAM memory, and it actually puts me in a position to make some overall tests and compare them for you guys. So I also can report of performance with Windows 11. You can see on my task manager, Windows 11 will eat 6.7 gigabytes of memory. I guess this is due to the fact that I have pretty big amount of RAM memory, and probably it's the Windows that is using a large part of that memory to cache different parts of the system and accelerate them that way. So let's start the game and see how the RAM usage will scale. I would note that I am only now recording with OBS, but I am not live streaming, so that should make the RAM usage a bit smaller than when I am doing a live stream. I will switch the game to window mode, window full screen, so we can put the task manager overlay. Okay, so we are now at the main menu. Looking at my RAM usage, now it's 14.1, and also I would note GPU video memory RAM usage, which is already 7.2 gigabytes. So almost all of my video memory on GPU utilized by the game. Next, let's go over current video settings. I am using my RTX 2070 Super 1440p resolution. Let's turn off the DLSS for this test, and then we'll turn it back on, because frame rate is not the real issue here, but rather the usage of different resources. Let's check it now on the task manager now. Okay, so the dedicated GPU memory usage has risen a bit, 7.5, still under the 8 gigabytes, that is good. And the RAM memory is 14 gigabyte, no change here. Let's get into the game. So I will not be joining any of my friends for this test. I want to make a evaluation without involving cross-play, or even though when you are in the city, you will definitely run into some players, and this thing will impact the game performance to some degree. So now I am in the game hub, Kiovashad. Let's take a look at the task manager now. Okay, the memory usage has risen a bit, 17.8. That's 4 or 5 gigabytes more. So GPU is still under 8 gigabyte usage, that is good. However, You should note that this is a bit optimized GPU settings. It's not the default what the game chosen for me, so the texture quality is medium. Anisotropic filtering is one notch down, not at maximum. Shadow quality is high, but it's not on the maximum. And some other stuff are moved down one notch to, how should I say, make the game run more smooth. What exactly is it? Well, while the game does run pretty well, even with everything on the highest setting on my computer, I will show it now. Save setting, and now with the maximum video settings, now we are actually at 29.9 gigabytes of RAM usage, GPU 7.6. So at this moment, I guess I actually can recommend that you have 32 gigabytes of RAM for playing Diablo 4 on max settings 1440p. So at this moment you can see that I have disabled my cam, the NVA broadcast SDK to remove background, and it may have relatively small but some impact on the game or on the PC resource usage. So let's see now. Well, the memory usage is still around 30 gigabytes, 29.2. While I was live streaming with OBS and my camera with NV broadcast, the OBS would freeze relatively frequently, ranging from only a few minutes into the live stream all the way to half an hour or an hour, and then but it was relatively consistent with freezing. So when I wasn't using my NV broadcast, the OBS would work fine. So let's TP to another area to see if that would have any impact on this particular area. Nevesk. NVIDIA FPS overlay isn't really working fine with Diablo. I can't really show you the FPS right now. Yeah, we can see the metric overall, but not the FPS. Okay, let's leave it at that. So let's run around a bit, go to the quest area, so that we would load more assets into the game. I should also mention that with me the game is on an NVMe.
It needs time to recharge.
Let's see the task manager usage for the resource of the PC. So now we are over 32 gigabytes of RAM used, and the GPU is still at 7.7. That is good. Shared GPU memory is not going up. Like what is important is that the GPU is not using too much of the system RAM for GPU memory. Like still 7.7. That is okay. But the RAM usage has gone up. Let's go into instanced event, reseller. Again, my NV broadcast is off. All that is left, that is making some of impact on PC performance, is the OBS. Here.
I'm low on energy.
Okay.
more time.
Okay, the event is done. What can we notice? 32.4, okay. 2.3, so it's actually dropping a bit, because I think because we are not on the open world, but in an instance section of the game, so a bit less resources needed. Let's throw in the DLSS. So some of you who own a better PC monitor that can run high FPS may want to actually use DLSS, for example, to get even more performance. So I would use quality mode for DLSS and limit the max FPS to 144, so that my monitor is refreshing sync with the GPU. And I would drop, as you have seen, I would drop a bit of the graphics settings to somewhat lower quality to gain some performance. For example, that would be sufficient, I guess. Even with this would be okay. Save setting. Okay, everything is fine. OBS didn't crash. The game is still running. You can't see the FPS, but I can feel that it is a bit smoother, especially now that there are no enemies on the screen. Let's take a look at the resource usage. So you can see that we have significantly lowered the required memory. From 32 gigabytes we are back to 20 gigabytes now. That is good. But consider this is an instance section, so let's go out into the world. Run around a bit again, kill some enemies. Can check the resource usage now. 20.5 didn't change. I can't see a large difference in the quality of the game presentation. It still looks amazing, very detailed, very nice. I guess on larger screens like a 4K monitor, maybe you could see large 4K monitor like 32 inches or higher, maybe you could see some difference in the geometry and the textures, but only when you zoom in. When you are zoomed out, I don't really think you would notice a difference. Let's go back to the town. Here we are. So, I have turned my NV broadcast back. What can we conclude? Well, direct storage title Forspoken. We have seen that games are moving toward a bigger RAM with PC. Console versions, I guess, will be streamlined to the hardware available, so there will be no problem. But for PC gamers, I guess the sweet spot for RAM memory is moving from 16 GB to 32 GB. And as you saw with the maximum settings, even to larger than 32 GB RAM memory. I guess my test was only 4040p. If I was running the test at 4K, maybe my RAM memory utilization would go beyond the 30 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes that we saw. Maybe this is only a memory leak. Maybe this will be solved in another update, in an engine update, but I really don't think so, as we have seen that the game would scale down on the RAM memory usage as you scale down the video effects. So it is what it is. If you ask me, it still looks very nice on these settings. You don't have to play it at max. You can play it with DLSS or some resolution scaling. You can play it with a bit of the details setting set to a medium setting, not on the highest, and you will enjoy a much better RAM usage with the game. If you don't have the RAM needed, I guess you may experience issues. I have read on the game forum that people with 16 gigabytes of RAM did experience game crashes and issues. Maybe this will be resolved with the game release, or the devs will suggest that you use lower settings for video effects if you don't own that amount of RAM. We will see. Set your PC settings accordingly to your machine. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Also, please follow me on YouTube. Every follow means a lot to me, as I am a very small streamer. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.